Many are predicting that the worst is yet to come, which is unfortunate, said one person here. Until now, they've enjoyed the reputation of being the nation's icebox.
Watched a burglar in his home this morning by webcam.
As a journalist of over 25 years, stories are what make my world turn.
Reporting live from the Dallas newsroom tonight, Jeff Crilley, Fox 4 News.
But in 2008, I took the jump from my familiar life and started a PR firm from my home.
We're talking about anyone with a camcorder like the one I'm using becomes a television network.
We started slowly growing the company, and we now have over 100 clients, and we've branched into the world of live digital broadcasting. I now own 8 different TV studios and have a huge team, and the stories that I now get to share are sometimes the most important of my life. Life has a funny way of coming around full circle. This is the Jeff Crilley Show. It is a dog-eat-dog world out there. Anyone who had to pivot because of COVID-19 knows that. You're either surviving and thriving or you're failing. To talk about that today, Linda Fisk, she is the CEO of Collective 54. Thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you so much, Jeff. It's a pleasure being here, and I'm honored to be one of your guests today, so thank you.
Well, you and I have been talking off camera about the power of partnership, because that's so critical that,
Yes.
that the business owner doesn't try to do it alone.
That's right. So I will say, as the CEO of Collective 54, I am absolutely dedicated, in fact, passionate about helping accelerate the success of other owners of small and medium-sized businesses. At Collective 54, we are the nation's only peer advisory network for owners of professional services firms. And the only thing we focus on in Collective 54 is helping those owners grow their firm, scale their firm, or maximize the valuation of their firm. And I will say that, I believe that by helping others succeed, the reward will always be far greater than the investment. And the good news is that my whole team subscribes to that belief as well. And because that is sort of our style and our approach in developing the members of Collective 54, at this point, I would say that we probably have the most exclusive access to the highest caliber and highest performing business leaders in the world that own professional services firms.
Wow. Well, I can tell you that members having to pivot is critical, and sometimes they have to do it very quickly, don't they? Talk about how your members have managed to pivot.
Yeah, I would say that the number one lesson learned by watching the members of Collective 54 is how agile you have to be in this environment. Agility really equals success. And agility is the ability for leaders to be able to improve performance even in the face of enormous obstacles, incredible headwinds, or an economic downturn like we're facing today. And it's the ability to be able to listen to the changing needs of their customers and their employees, and being able to respond quickly, to be able to swiftly adapt to the changing market conditions and the changing needs of members and of customers and employees that really make the difference. And so that's one of the key lessons I've learned from the members of Collective 54. But I would also say there are probably 4 pillars of success that the real leaders of professional services firms, like the members of Collective 54, do extraordinarily well. One is that they're able to stabilize their business. That means that they're taking control of the cash. They're managing the operations of their business in a frugal and pragmatic way today, but they're investing into the future of their firm tomorrow. The second thing that I think they do extraordinarily well is, beyond just stabilizing the business, they're able to assess the situation with incredible clarity. And to do that, they're really relying on fact-based, objective, and expert input, resources that really are unbiased and that provide a kind of level of insight that otherwise they wouldn't have accessible to them. And so, that's where I feel like Collective 54 plays a role, is that leaders of professional services firms are able to connect to a peer group of trusted advisors nationwide to help strengthen their decision making in the moments that count. The third thing that I think that they do extraordinarily well is they stop the losses and they find the positives. And by stopping losses, this is really about understanding clearly what drives value for the members and the customers, the clients of your business. It's really understanding what drives value. And if something you're doing does not impact the valuation on behalf of your customers, you should stop doing it. And then lastly, I think that the members of Collective 54, which really are some of the top leaders of professional services organizations in the world, the last thing that I think they do extraordinarily well is that they are always building credibility with their clients. They're always furthering their thought leadership, their processes, their systems, and also the value that they provide to their clients. They're always establishing a new level of credibility with their clients, and they are always asking those pivotal questions to ensure that the voice of their client, the voice of their customer, is incorporated in their solutions.
Well, you have an absolutely stunning website. We're going to put the website up while you're talking more about your members. When we talk about the power of partnership, what does that mean to you?
Power of partnership is really about being able to gather the most actionable advice, the fastest answers, and the real guidance that's going to impact the bottom line for any professional services business owner. And so partnership in that way is being able to confide in members that you trust in a confidential, private, trust-based relationship, and you're able to ask the tough questions, get the real answers, and provide incredible insight, professional guidance from other people who have been there and done that. These are peers who have built extraordinary businesses. These are other owners of professional services firms that have already mastered the art of growing, scaling, and preparing a firm for exit. And by connecting these kind of amazing, inspiring leaders, the outcome is transformational. So whether they are connecting through peer-to-peer, one-on-one confidential consultations, small group discussions, facilitated conversations, it's the exchange of ideas in a confidential environment that I think is really transformational.
You guys produced a beautiful video. We're going to just show a clip of that right now.
When every decision counts, the Peer Advisory Network of Collective 54 is the fastest way to get objective, expert guidance from owners like you at companies like yours. Collective 54 is the only national peer advisory network for owners of professional service firms, focused exclusively on growing, scaling, and maximizing firm valuation. In fact, Collective 54 has the most exclusive access to the highest caliber professional service business owners in the world. Part of the Collective 54 network, you'll access a powerful ecosystem to help you expand your client base, forge new partnerships, build your distribution, find investors and funding sources, enhance your supplier network, identify potential investment opportunities, and more. Collective 54 is a private community where owners candidly share their experiences and their insight with the most innovative leaders and thinkers in the nation.
Wow, that was beautifully produced. Linda, I know there's a lot of organizations out there for leaders. What makes yours different?
I think we're different in a couple ways. One, our structure and our format is a little bit different. And one, I think our approach and style is really different. So let's talk about structure and format. First, we're nationwide. So we're not restricted to the leaders that are within a small geographical location. We allow our members to tap into the best and brightest thinkers, disruptors, innovators nationwide. So I think that is a real key differentiator. The second differentiator in terms of structure and format is the fact that we are designed specifically for owners of small to medium-sized professional services firms. So these boutique firms face really unique challenges, and they have some very, very powerful opportunities at that stage of growth that we help them leverage. And so I think that kind of structure and that kind of format works really well. And the last thing that I think is really unique is that all of the peer connections that happen through Collective 54 are based on a trusted peer advisory network in confidential, private, secure, sort of a safe haven to exchange ideas. In terms of our approach and style, I think that what really matters is that we recognize that every owner of a professional services firm is time-strapped. Everyone is time-starved, especially right now, working in the kind of economic conditions that we are. And so we recognize that as an owner of a small to medium-sized business, what really matters is being able to provide value on their schedule. And so everything that we do is designed to provide extraordinary return on the time invested. And I think we are the only organization that actually tracks and measures the return on the time invested into Collective 54 to make sure that every engagement, every experience, every resource is really focused on trying to create impact. And it's all based on their schedule, not ours.
Outstanding. We went to YouTube and we found a great testimonial video. Let's go ahead and roll that now.
I think there's a lot to be said right now for up-leveling our businesses in professional services. Massive opportunity for us. By being part of Collective 54 is like you got admitted to a club that would be, impossible to even find, let alone be part of. Overall, the frequency of interaction is great because everyone's so busy that they rarely seem to give a lot of time, but they do to Collective 54, so you have regular access. So for a new member, there are innumerable benefits and opportunities. It really starts first and foremost with how would one go about creating a network of people who are respected business leaders in an area that you work on, who have experience with lots of the problems that you yourself are dealing with. So it is an instant on kind of environment for a new member. You don't have to wait for it to grow, it's in place. You don't have to wonder if it is there to help, it's what it does intuitively. And then lastly, when you start to think about your own career, part of the power of a career is the network that you become part of. And by being part of Collective 54 as a new member, you now have, all the members who know who you are, and you've therefore defined a network for yourself, which really would be impossible to build. Put in the effort, make the commitment, seize the opportunity, and great things will come from that.
Very cool. I love success stories. What's one of your favorite recent success stories?
Yeah, I have to thank Joe Gagnon for doing that member testimonial for us. That was lovely. One of the examples that happened just this week, I think is very typical of what we see in Collective 54. One of our members is the owner of a very successful IT consulting firm. And he had noticed that through the pandemic that his sales pipeline was beginning to dwindle. A lot of his clients had postponed their engagements, they had delayed the start of the project, and he recognized that he needed to find a way to create a repeatable sales process to drive his revenue and sustain his competitive advantage in what is a very crowded marketplace. So he turned to Collective 54, and we began to work with him through our diagnostics, our assessments, our solution templates and solution guides to identify what his current go-to-market strategy and what his current sales strategy looked like. And through that, we recognized that this member would benefit from really deeply understanding how his clients buy his service. So what his clients use as their definition of success and the problems that they uniquely are trying to solve. So by better understanding what his clients were buying, he then could restructure his value proposition and his whole sales structure to be able to adapt to and reflect the needs of his clients. In addition to that, we also connected him with several of our members who are incredible pioneers and thought leaders in sales consultancy firms. And through their integration, through their partnership, then our member was able to literally map out an entire roadmap for success over the course of the next year, completely revamping his sales approach and re-energizing his sales pipeline. And right now, he is on target to finish the year at 3 times the revenue of last year, even in the midst of a global pandemic.
Wow. I know fear can be very paralyzing, and a lot of business owners are fearful, and some will not take risks, and then you'll see other business owners kind of rolling the dice. When you work with your members, how do you guide them on whether to be bold or pull back?
Yes. That is an individual decision with every single member, depending on where they are in their life cycle of growth, scale, or exit, and what the market conditions are for the individual industry vertical in which they operate. But I will say that those members that were able to be fast, nimble, agile, and ensure that they are always integrating the voice of their customer into their solutions, they are well positioned to be able to thrive once the economy rebounds. They have positioned their firms in a way that allows them to really leverage the economic rebound that we're all hoping for very shortly.
Linda, we're almost out of time, so final thoughts. What would you like to leave the audience with?
If I had one final thought to offer any owner of a small to medium-sized business right now, it would be, one, be sure that you're embracing the opportunity to be agile. Be sure that you are incorporating the voice of the member into all of your decision making. And lastly, I would suggest that every single business owner begin to think about joining some sort of membership-based organization where you can benefit from objective, unbiased, expert advice from people who have already gone through the exercise of growing a business, scaling a business, and preparing a business for exit. I will say, no leader can grow without the help of others. And the best way to stay accountable, understand opportunities, and avoid costly mistakes is by connecting with other people who have been there already.
Outstanding. Linda, you have been an outstanding guest. Please join us again. You were great.
Thank you so much, Jeff. I really appreciate the time with you today.
You bet. We're going to put the website up so everybody can get a hold of Linda Fisk and her amazing organization. Collective54.com is the website. Thanks one more time.
Thank you.
You bet. And that's it for now. We'll see you next time.